Randy has been part of the Vantage Point family for about a year. We got to see him at the Vantage Point Summit, talk with him. He's a lot of fun and he's great to interact with. And I sent him a couple questions. So Randy, I know you've probably got the questions there in front of you. And we number one, want to say thank you for being part of the family. But number two, want to get to know you a little bit better and kind of understand you a little bit better. So the first question I have is, you've been with Vantage Point for about a year. We're interested in wondering what drew you to Vantage Point originally.
Well, I first heard about you about 3 years ago when I was at a summit in Palm Desert with Larry Williams. And I was talking to Larry, and he kind of talked a little bit about you guys and what you were doing. And I told him I wanted to start taking some of the techniques I was using in futures and use them over in options. And he was like, whoa, 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 hold on. This stuff is not, it's not set up to support stocks and options, man. Everything I'm teaching you is future specific here for the most part. And, oh, okay. And I told him I really want to get into stocks, and I've never really fully been able to do that. So he was the guy who got me in, or originally introduced me. And I looked at it, and my initial thought was, when I looked at it, I was like, this looks fairly complex. Artificial intelligence? I don't know how I feel about that. And then next thing I knew, I talked myself out of it because I knew I wasn't going to be able to figure it out, and nobody would help me. It'd be like everything else where you go out and buy an indicator and then they say, good luck with that. Here's a PDF on how to use it, So that's how I first got introduced. And then I guess about a year ago, I was talking to Larry and I said, I really want to get into stocks. And he said, well, then spend some money with Vantage Point. And I was like, okay. So that was his advice to me. He said, you got all the tools, you just need to know more about what you're doing with this, and these guys can help you.
Well, that's great. That's great. We love working with Larry. We're glad that you got the chance to work with Larry as well. And he introduced you to us because we love having you as part of the Vantage Point family. Now, you and I have had some of these conversations already, and you and Rob, and Brian was the one you talked to originally and came on board and joined the family originally with. But I'd love for you to share with the rest of our team here what you've been able to do in life because of the result of using Vantage Point.
Yeah, one of the reasons that I really started pursuing this was because I really was in a place where I just turned 65 years old and I'm ready for a change. I'm selling my own business. I've owned a business for 25 years. I'm selling that. And as I sell that, I'm looking at it going, one thing I learned in life, cash flow is important. So what's my cash flow going to be if I'm not taking distributions and a paycheck anymore?
Yeah.
Wow. Then my stack of coins starts going down instead of continuing to go up. So I really decided that, and I, as much as I would love to be able to say I trust somebody else to invest my money for me, I don't. So I do it myself. So that's kind of what it's allowed me to do. It's allowed me to do that. I told you this the other day. I listened to this thing with Deion Sanders, and he said this. He made this statement. He said, "Don't let my self-confidence insult your insecurity." And when I first heard that, I thought, boy, I bet that'll get you in a few fistfights here and there, But you know what? That's what Vantage Point has done for me. It's given me the self-confidence to do what because I looked at it in the first month where I actually didn't use anything but the Vantage Point. It had to line up with Vantage Point, all my indicators and everything there before I did anything with it. And my trading percentage went up by 12%. In the period of the last 6 months, it's gone up by at the end of August, I traded at 78% efficiency with about a 18% gain in my portfolio. So
there you go.
I like that.
It's one thing to hear those stories and hear people say it and read, things that people write in, but to see you on camera and hear you saying that, I know that gives everybody here a whole lot of confidence. So thank you for sharing that with us.
I've been very fortunate with that. Yes.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Something else you shared with me the other day about working with our team, and I'm not going to take the words out of your mouth, but I'd love for you to share with everybody here, what stands out about working with our world-class support team?
I mean, it's interesting, Daniel, to hear you say world-class support team, because I know that's what's in your heart and that's what's in your mind and everything. But I can't really explain it. I didn't expect this. I really didn't. I didn't think, that if I had a problem and I'll send an email over there and see if maybe by next week somebody gets back with me. I send an email and 10 minutes later, my phone's ringing. Hey, let me explain that to you. And it just, at first it took me off guard, but yeah, it's the immediate response. It's hey, if I don't have the answer, I know somebody who does. Let me go talk to them. I'll get back with you, or they'll get back with you. It's very well. And one of the big things for me, I'm kind of the old school business owner guy, and I believe in this: do what you say you're going to do. And you guys actually do that. You're one of the few companies these days that I deal with who actually does what they say they're going to do.
That's great to hear. Because I can tell you, I do say that because that's what's in my mind and my heart. And I also get to see our team doing it and our Vantagepoint family living what we say. But I know it just means so much more to hear it from you. And we try to walk the walk. So to hear that it's coming across and you're feeling it is fantastic. So again, thank you for sharing that. Just from a time sake perspective, I had another question I was going to ask you about what would you tell somebody else about joining the Vantagepoint family, but we can talk about that. Or if you prefer, is there something that you want to share with the team that I may not have asked that you'd like for them to know?
Wow. Yeah, I'll tell you guys something right now. Being a guy who owned his own companies for the last 40 years, your company is what I wanted every one of my companies to look like and to be. The way you guys interact, the product you put forward, the first class service, everything is first class. There's nothing that you guys hold back on any of it. And to me, I think in the Bible, there was a guy named Daniel, and everybody said, hey, what's the deal with those guys over there? And he said that, and one of the prison guards looked at the king and said, they have a spirit of excellence about them. You guys have a spirit of excellence about what you do. You don't do anything and just go, good enough. No. And I like that. And I think that's what's going to keep me coming back and being around here. The only problem I have right now, Daniel, is hey, I'm sorry this is working so well for me. I don't want to come back and mess things up. Look at that. If I have anything else in here, it can't get any better than this, can it?
Let me tell you, Randy, once a week, Daniel and Max is on the call. He leads our research and development department. Every Friday from 10 to 11 a.m., we talk about that very topic. How can we make it better? And I can tell you confidently, yes, it can and it will get better. And we're constantly working on things to make that a reality. So I can tell you that for sure. I know we're about out of time. I want to say also to you, Randy, thank you for being here. And thank you for being a part of the Vantagepoint family. And I also share your sentiments. I do a lot of business with other companies. I am so frustrated these days with the lack of service and support that companies provide. Big companies, I've been with you guys for so long. This is how I get treated, and it makes me think. And I say this to my dad. I say this to my wife. I've said it to Daniel. We would never treat a customer this way. We treat our customers like gold. How can they operate this way? And the only thing that I can conclude is that we, as an organization, refer to our customers not as customers, but as Vantagepoint family members. And when you think of someone as a family member, you have a certain level of respect for them, a certain level of appreciation for them. And you don't look at them as a number or, hey, this person spent money with us, but as someone who you care about, someone that you respect, someone who you truly want to see them succeed, and you'll do whatever it takes to support them in that effort to help them to succeed. And you know that if they succeed, you and your team and your business will also succeed. And that is a conscious mindset that we have that I think maybe a lot of companies, they don't think of it that way, or they don't talk about it, and therefore they don't live it and act it on a daily basis. That's something that really is important to us, and we spend a lot of time and effort on that. And I want to thank, while we're all here, I want to thank everyone on the back end, customer service and coaches, everyone in VPU, because you do treat our customers and our VantagePoint family members like gold. And that's the way that they should be treated, and we appreciate that. And I also want to say to Brian Allen, to the others on the senior initial team, to the biz dev team, the in-house team, Randy is just like everyone else that approaches us, and they have the same fears of, is this going to work? Are they going to be there to support me? Am I going to be overwhelmed? Am I going to be able to figure this out? Am I wasting my money, or is this a good investment? All those thoughts that they have, Randy had. And a lot of times we don't get to see people like Randy. We don't get to hear from people like Randy. And now what you're hearing, what you're seeing, is someone who is on the other side of all of those thoughts, concerns, fears, trepidations, and he would never trade it. He would never go back. And so it's just a tremendous opportunity to be able to hear from someone like you, Randy. So thank you. I really appreciate that. Appreciate you being here. It was great seeing you at the last summit, and hope to see you again in the future.